What's up, my peoples? How you all doing today? So, we'll get started a little different today. And the title of this video is Gary Vaynerchuk. I've been listening to this guy for 2+ years now, I think. It's been a while. Let's just put it that way. And he's got a podcast, he's got a video cast, he's got all this stuff, books. And if you, as a musician or artist or just hustler of wanting to do more with whatever it is you're doing, you need to be listening to this guy. I highly, highly recommend it. He's amazing. If you want to ask me more about it, go ahead. Otherwise, I just want to make sure you know about Gary Vaynerchuk. I talk about him every once in a while, but I wanted to lead with this and then also put it in the description or the title of this podcast. Probably some clickbait for that reason, but anyways, you need to know. You need to know about Gary Vaynerchuk. Listen to his stuff. I'd say my recommendation. So he talks a little street. He swears. He does stuff like that. The best way, I think, like when I first started listening to him, I listened to his podcast, and honestly, I was one of the types that was like, I'm not so sure about this guy, but I stuck with it for whatever reason. Like something in the first thing I listened to, I was like, oh, he knows what he's talking about. But then as I listened to him more, I just got used to the way he talks. I was watching the Ask Gary V show, was what I was mainly listening to in the podcast format. And then it just kind of grew from there. And then he started publishing more of his like keynote speeches and things like that he does. He's for conferences around the world, essentially. So my recommendation for you is to find one of his keynote speeches, something around the 45 to an hour minute mark. You'll get a good idea of what he's all about because he usually leads with his home background, and then he goes into like question and answers with the audience that are really pretty awesome. So, and then you'll get a bit about what he's all about, and I just like his philosophy. There's a couple key things about like it's not how much money you make, it's how you make your money is very important. He's kind of honey over vinegar, trying to build an empire, like his financial empire, with the idea of being a good human being to his employees and to the people around him, rather than being like a more Steve Jobs-y kind of asshole type to his employees and whatever. So it's just, he's got a really different philosophy, great work ethic, and I believe what he's saying. And I think if we as a community, as an artistic community in the Seattle Northwest music scene, can apply some of what his philosophy is, so much more will be happening for our scene. So I just wanted to get that in your ear and see what you think about it. So Jam of the Week. I got 2 Jams of the Week this week. First is Great Grandpa. So they just released some new music, or like their single off their upcoming album that's coming out. And they're getting some love for sure. They're gonna be on a tour really soon that I'm super jealous about. It's like a national tour, East and West Coast. They're gonna be here in San Diego. And I'm gonna be there. But their song is called Teen Challenge. I love it. The way I describe their band, and this is the way I've described them before as well, is it's like a female-fronted Weezer. They have that sound to me. I'm sure they have lots of other sounds of bands that I'm not aware of, but that's what they sound like to me, and I like it. It's good. I have to thank Matt Ashworth of Not a Mucho for turning me on to the band. I saw them live at a show, and while Matt was there, and it was just good stuff, and I've really taken to them. I'm pretty sure, I don't know if I've used one of their songs as a Jam of the Week before, but they've been in a WOTS radio on WOTSpodcast.com. But also, I don't know, I just dig them. I've been reaching out to them. Hopefully I'll get them on the podcast soon. I really want to make that happen. So, but you know how things go. We'll see if that happens. My second Jam of the Week, honest to goodness Jam of the Week, that I've been listening to pretty much nonstop since I heard it, is not a local band. It's a national band, but I don't really know anything about the band, but I know about this song, and it's kicking my butt. It's DNCE. It's a kind of dance pop song. So, and it's called Kissing Strangers. Here's the screenshot of the album cover. Awesome song. So good. So if you want to know what really gets me going, this kind of song gets me going. I just love the groove, the dance, and all that stuff about it. So check it out if you have time. And, did you know that you can download songs off SoundCloud even if they're not set to download? Not saying I do it, but you can do it. Just a thought. So Word on the Street this last week, we had Robin Fairbanks. No real behind the scenes of the actual creation of the podcast, but there's a little bit of behind the scenes with what happened after, like the publishing of the podcast. It's been one of those, it feels like it's got longer arms than a lot of the podcasts. It's gotten reshared and mentioned and talked about and by more people that I don't already know, in a way. And so that was really cool, that it's kind of maybe helped reach new audiences a little bit. I mean, I'm still working on getting a good download numbers, but whatever. But it's a good one. And then just as a kind of a legacy version of the podcast, it's hopefully, the people that are interested in learning more about what they need to do or should do as they're in their career as musicians could listen to this one, because it's pretty good sound advice from somebody that's been in the industry for a long time. So check it out if you haven't. I recommend it as a kind of one of those tools. Use it as a tool for your own career. Next week we have Erin Langford from, what's he from? He's a producer, engineer, kind of recording engineer person. He lives out of Tacoma, and he's got his own band, which I can't remember the name of it at the time, but he's been doing the thing. He's hustling hard. He's kind of really into the DIY scene down in Tacoma and the real art scene, so looking forward to airing that version of the podcast next week. Music, what's going on in the music world this week? Or this week, nothing really significant. Well, actually, yes, something very significant is going down in the music world. I sent off some money to our producer for the TheZim's and Arock. We're going to be releasing a 3-song EP, and I've sent some monies to him, and then one of the songs so far, so I have to, I'll be slowly feeding him the 3 songs, but, Dropbox and all that stuff. But I'm pretty excited to see what happens. If this might be the first real example of our music recorded and produced and mixed and mastered and all that stuff in a way that I feel super comfortable about. So this guy is Byron Agahorn. He is the guy that produced my song No Snow a month ago, whatever it was. And I was obviously really, really impressed with it. And from here on out with my own music and the TheZim's and Arock, I don't ever want to have to try to mix it myself. I just don't want to spend the time to learn that, and with everything else I have to do, life, kids, and making money, and so there's no way, so I need to find ways to have other people help me on this process. And so thankfully Byron's kicking down, I'm paying him, but he's kicking down to do it, and it'll be hopefully good. We'll see how it turns out. But that I haven't been. What I was saying when I sent him some money, I said to myself, I've never been more happy to spend money on something than doing that, and it's just amazing. It's one of those moments where hindsight's 20/20, right? I look back at my career so far as a musician and what I've done, and I've been doing it so wrong for so long that I need to start doing it right. And one of the right ways to do it is get a recording that's really, really good before anything else. And unfortunately, I'm not quite doing it that extreme, because I kind of have to do stuff because I'm a creator and I just need to keep making stuff. But the honest to goodness real way that you should be doing it, from what I've learned through my process of the podcast and just life and all that stuff, is get the recording done first before anything else, and be super proud of it. Believe in it so emphatically that you stand by it. There's no hesitation. And then up till now, pretty much everything musically I've done, I've had hesitation with, because it just hasn't been recorded in the way I know it can sound. Every band pretty much, other than 94th Street, and then the best 2 samples. Well, even 94th Street to a degree, because the stuff that I really had my signature on, we never released. We never really recorded all the way. The first album, the only album that ever came out with 94th Street, was mostly Kevin Saka, and so it was mostly his work and stuff. And then TJ and I, what we developed as a band really didn't get recorded. We started stuff, but anyways, that's just a longer story. I'll tell you about it another time. But so anyways, making small steps toward my dreams of being a professional musician in a professional way. Let's put it that way. And then I'm, because of all this, so that's kind of what's going on with some of the music stuff. The rest of the music stuff is I'm going to be in Seattle June 7th through the 16th. It's tied in with Word on the Street. I'll be recording a bunch of podcasts as well as playing a show June 11th at the High Dive. And right now the only other band that's confirmed on the lineup is Morning Glory Revival. Let's see here. These guys right here. Morning Glory Revival. Good stuff. Gonna be awesome. So check it out. Be at the show. You gotta be at the show. So where I was going with that. So I realized, life stuff. There's kind of a good amount of life stuff. This first one ties into the music stuff because I realized what I want to be doing, and this is actually why I started talking about Gary Vaynerchuk at the beginning, because something I listened to this week of his, the essence of, going all in on the one thing in a sense that you really want to be doing. And I've been making these clutches, right? These Alexander Thomas clutches, which are fun to make, but I've realized I have zero desire to hustle and sell them. Like, I just don't have it in me to do all the stuff required to do this, because I'm already doing that with the podcast. The podcast is where my passion is, and the music, but I see the podcast and the music as one and the same. It's like the podcast exists because of my music. I wouldn't be doing the podcast if I wasn't a musician and because that's where it all started. The podcast started because I believe that it's no longer good enough in our climate as artists and musicians to do one thing, to play music, and that's it. You have to have your hands out there and find other ways to expose more people to what you're doing. And that's why one of the main reasons why I did the podcast was to have a direct line back to my music to a larger audience. So that's a big reason why I'm doing the podcast. So I personally see the podcast and my music as kind of one and the same thing. I don't really distinguish them as much as probably everyone else does. So what I realized is, like I said, I have no desire to do that, and I need to be playing music. My dream, my goal in my life is I want to tour my band and make money off of it eventually, whatever. I want to go on tour just first, but make money off of it and have it sustain my livelihood. I want my musical career to sustain my livelihood, and that's both in the podcast and in the music that I create. And like I said earlier, I've been doing it wrong for so long. I need to do it right now. So trying to get things in line to do it right, but I also need to start booking more shows. I just actually have to be playing. If I'm serious about wanting this as a career, I need to be playing more often. And so I'm just going to do the thing and go to more open mics, try to book some solo gigs, try to get Arock down here to San Diego whenever I can. Obviously, I'm going back up, but and touring is going to be the focus. I want to tour twice a year for 2 weeks each time. So that's going to be my goal, and try and just keep on hustling and make it happen. And it has to happen. It's like one of the other things that Gary Vaynerchuk references all the time is, where will you have regrets? Think about your life, think about what you're doing now, and if you feel like you're gonna have a regret if you don't do something, and that's what I feel about my musical career. If I don't try as hard as I can, even if I'm not making a lot of money, but at least I'm trying as hard as I can and focused on the goals I have, I will regret not trying at least. If I never make it to a place that I want, at least I can't look back and say I didn't try my hardest, because that's kind of what I'm working on right now. So basically, I now that I'm settling a little bit here in San Diego, I realize the Lyft thing for me is really good. It works really, really well for me as a way to make money, and be able to do all the other things I want to do, as I've said before. However, it's taken its toll on my car. My car is in the shop right now, and it's looking like I need about $1,300 to repair what needs to get repaired. I guess the mounts for the engine and transmission are bad, and now that needs to get repaired. So I think it'll cost me around $1,300 based on the phone call and all the stuff. So I'm kind of in a little bit of dire straits. I was pretty depressed about stuff just this morning and last night, but I'm feeling a little better about things in this odd kind of way, even though I don't really know where I'm going to come up with the money. But what I decided is I'm going to, once I need to get my car fixed, period, regardless, but I also am going to do the lease program, the rental program through Lyft, and a friend of mine gave me some money to help make that a reality. So I just got to keep seeing if there's cars available, because there's kind of a wait list for it, and it's not just a immediate thing. So I'm working on that. But in the big picture of things, I'm just the Lyft thing's working out good. I need to focus more on making music and doing that. What I was saying is I'm settled. I'm feeling more settled now here in San Diego, and I'm seeing the rhythm of what's making me happy. And the clutch thing, even though I like making them, it's not really making me happy. If they sell, if the internet finds them, they're out there for the internet to find. If the internet finds them and they sell, I will keep making them, but I'm not going to put energy into trying to sell them. I want to put energy into the podcast, my music, my kids, driving Lyft when I need to, pretty much all the other times. And so that's kind of what's going on. And since I still do have, one last thing to mention, I did another tunnel book. I'm sure the video is probably already on my channel. I did like a behind the scenes how-to video, but this is the tunnel book I made. This is my latest tunnel book, so check it out on the behind the scenes how-to video. But and it's also on the Etsy store for my tunnel books if you want to buy it. But so that's what's going on. Last thing to mention is the clutch. I decided, so this week's discount will be Car Trouble 35. So Car Trouble 35, if you want to buy a clutch for 35% off, use that discount code on the Etsy store, which I just realized that it has a vanity URL. I always thought it didn't. I always thought it had to be this longer thing. I've been using etsy.com/shop/Alexander Thomas, but it's actually, you can just go alexanderthomas2015.etsy.com. And that's a pretty that's a pretty straightforward vanity URL for it. alexanderthomas2015.etsy.com. So check it out if you want to buy one of the clutches. That'd be awesome. I think that's it for today. I don't think we had any Patreon subscribers for the podcast again. So one last thing, I have 2 minutes left. The Patreon for the podcast, I've set up 2 different low tier levels that are limited edition, whatever tier levels. One is a t-shirt tier level for $8.88. If you sign up, subscribe for $8.88 for the podcast, you will get a t-shirt. It requires you to your account to get charged twice in a row before you get your t-shirt, but you'll get your t-shirt, and there's only 5 people allowed to do that. And then I have 3 people that can sign up for $33.33 and get any clutch they want off the store. They just have that's available when they sign up. So $33.33 a month, you'll get a clutch of any choice you want, and also you won't get it until the second time the money clears your account. So if you want to help out the podcast, if you want to help out me, if you want to see this thing grow and thrive, I'd love it if you kick down on the Patreon. Alright, peace. I'll catch you next time. Thanks a lot for watching, and be sure to subscribe to the channel.